factor for ATP synthesis. But uncoupling is completely dividing these two processes, uncouplers, right? You're doing good, but the big details are, but then in one PhD you cannot do. Next time, in postdoc, some. Anyone else? So, Shweta, I have some questions too. I can see you have got a lot of questions already. Anyway, I'll come back to that.
ये एक्सटर्नल पहुंच रहा है.
Lockdown experience. In PHK, you see like NDTSA or whatever the other assay you have done for cell common, you find about roughly 40, 50, 60% knockdown, and your effect also, cell proliferation physiological effect also somewhat same. So what's your comment on this? You will give the slides, it's fine. Everybody have seen. Yeah. What is your comment?
That the knockdown viability is increasing at
About 50, 60%. You can see half is gone now. So how do you explain that? In the sense, CPH1 knockdown actually lead to about 50% reduction in cell viability, which means other 50% is surviving.
yes.
So how do you? But what's your thought? I mean, I have some answer in my mind, but I want you to explain.
What is
See,
happening to the
ideally,
50% that is
ideally you would have expected 100% or 90% or something, but we find about 50%. So how do you explain?
So the 50% that is getting reduced is 50% that is present is working at its normal capacity that it would have act when EHTA1 was present at a normal level. Because the knockdown is only happening in the 50 to 60% of the cells.
So you think that those would be the cells escape, or siRNA would not have entered during transcription or something like that?
Not entered, and even the efficiency is around 50-60%.
That means that, right?
Yeah.
See, efficiency, when you say your siRNA mediated inhibition is 50%, which means most likely, it's like it's a population, right? So some of the cells would have received the siRNA. You agree with that? Okay. Because see, that is kind of reflected in almost all of your following experiments also. Another question was, I think your team was trying to ask something in that direction. See, I can see you have done Western or qPCR with BCL2 and BCL7. These are anti-apoptotic reactions. But I
Hi, sir, like kar do.
you are doing with pro-apoptotic. I mean, I'm not saying that one should do. Like others said, see, PhD is like an ocean, and the project is also like that. There can be any number of questions can be asked. We also have to finish in a time bound manner. Anyway, so what is your thought on that? Yeah, pro-apoptotic markers.
So it was just a thought that these basic markers that will be able to tell us that what impact might it the knockdown might have. So for that we selected the anti-apoptotic, the survival markers as our benchmark. We could have seen the proliferative markers as well, but
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But say if you would have done based on the rest of the data, what would be your hypothesis? You would have seen
based on the hypothesis, if as I said earlier, that BCL2 and will act by sequestering DATs.
Yes.
So if it is going down, we would assume that those will go up. DATs.
Yeah, it should have gone up. Yeah, that's good answer. And then another question is not written, but I'll come to that soon. Let's say, what do you think? Is the PHK1 knockdown cells, you found that the other thing, what is that TRIM?
PPP1R3, no, TRIM27.
TRIM27 going down, right?
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
So have you done vice versa? In the
No,
sense?
we haven't yet performed vice versa or even rescue
plus Q is fine, you see that's fine. But vice versa is something interesting. I'm not saying that you should do your opinions can do that. Because then, it will give you a little more additional information. And yeah, I think that's all. Maybe I will now go to the questions from examiners. So, I think some of these questions are already asked, but still I will read some of those. Although the epidemiological analysis shows a strong association of diabetes with multiple cancer types, the rationale for selecting breast cancer as the primary focus of the study is not clearly explained. What's your thought?
So in case of that, I would like to say that for selecting breast cancer, we had a few things in mind. First of all, the disease burden. If we see in the Indian subcontext also, or even worldwide, women, the highest cancer prevalence is for breast cancer. Secondly, even the risk of women getting breast cancer is more in diabetic condition as compared to men. And additionally, when we talk about diabetes, even obesity is a co-founder. And for women, the estrogen in breast cancer, estrogen and the receptors play a very crucial role in that context. So,
You are selected, right? I think that's right. Next question is, this was one of the things I thought of asking also, but I think it's there. The chemicals, the plant derived, the chemical you have identified shows a promising binding affinity towards PHK1 in silico. But then of course there were no other studies. Have you tried to do some of those studies?
Not yet, but since we have identified the 5 tentative anti-cancer compounds, the first course of action would be to do MD simulation and then go forward with seeing it cycle.
So that's something someone else can follow up. It will be something interesting to see. Your in silico predictions are indeed correct. The other point is, so I can see a lot of concerns about the metabolism part. Which anyway, this question here is considering that some of these factors what you are saying is all correct. Then this compound also can have a lot of toxicity when later you test in normal cells and all those things. What's your comment on that? It's not a speculative question.
So our aim was to, for taking secondary metabolites, to see, because we wanted some natural compounds that have low toxicity in case of the cell. And the group of tracylacylglycine belongs to a lignin glycoside. And there are drugs for breast cancer from that particular group. So we do expect that it might not be that toxic, but ultimately it will depend upon the results that we see in the experimental scenario. But
Sure. There are a few more questions from reviewer 1. I think some spelling mistake, and I'm sure you would have done that. I saw your answers. So those I'm not going to ask. Second reviewer, so one of the question is, what is the prevalence of breast cancer in women with type 2 diabetes? I think you answered about 20%, something like that during your presentation.
He is professor from
Another question is,
ISC
you
Bangalore.
have
He is
identified
external.
26 as a downstream target for PHK1. Does all the functions of PHK1 mediate through TREM26? What is your thought on that?
since this work of ours is very preliminary at the moment, it is difficult to
Comment
actually
on that.
say.
Yeah, I agree with that. Another question is, have you analyzed the ADME properties of so
That
that
is, we have, it is present in the thesis but not stated in the.
that is okay.
And
Yeah.
it does follow the admit properties. Just the molecular weight is 546, whereas it should be till 500.
Okay, fine. I think one more question. As you have shown, the PHK1 regulates TREM26 and metabolic functions in cancer cells and stem cells. In your opinion, which function of PHK1 is more prominent?
For this, I would like to say the metabolic, the got identified these genes. And what our hypothesis is that it is due to the metabolic activity that it is showing the other functions of impact on either the cell proliferation or.
Sure. The last question, yeah, so I think a lot of questions already asked were on that. What are the limitations of the study and what are the future prospects?
Limitation of the study is that exactly this work firstly given the diabetic insulin conditions. Just this study is in context to the glucose primarily. So the diabetic, what happens in case of diabetic condition, either in the cell line or in the mice model, is yet to be understood. That is the first main limitation that I would like to state. And in future there are many things to be done.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, no, you can also consider some of those suggestions, but I know it will be difficult for you to complete all those things. So, any more questions? Okay, so Shweta, I mean, overall assessment based on whatever I have seen today here, I think you have defended your thesis well. I know there are a lot of criticism, which is good for any department. Good to have such kind of interactions and comments so that a student will get an opportunity to learn from that. This may be my, I don't know how many defense I would ask you for that. And probably this is one of the toughest defense I have ever seen in my career.
वाह वाह IAS का बंदा ही बोल रहा है या फिर झूठ बोल रहा है या फिर सच बोल रहा है भाई साहब.
Right. No, that is very nice to see that. And the important thing is you kept your cool, you answered well wherever. And I know there are places you could have answered better, but I think you did a very good job. I congratulate you for that. And I have also one suggestion. It's good to have such suggestions coming during your PhD viva and things like that. Such that the student will actually get an opportunity to correct that. Because see, in ISC we have to so you can criticize stuff like that. So then
Mic check जा रहा है ले.
Sure.
यार ये
So whenever you get sent to any correction, whether it's for yours or for any student, you should try to address what you will have a little more, pleasant difference. So that's my final comment, and then I will congratulate you for doing such a marvelous work. See, all when I look at something interesting, that's what I can conclude. So this impact of PHK1 with respect to breast cancer and diabetes, I think there is nowhere reported in the literature. And you have provided sufficient data to note down whatever other experiments you have done. And of course, there may be some weakness like what was pointed out. But I think there is something new there. And that is reflected in your publication. So I congratulate you for that. And also for defending your work as much as you could. Very good job. And I have to say that. And so also finally, I myself along with the other committee members and other people who are sitting here, recommend your PhD thesis for award of degree from the University of Pakistan. Congratulations.
लेक्चर है भाई, समोसे के बाद लेक्चर है. वापस आ जाना दोस्तों.
समोसे नहीं मिलेंगे बीच में.